So good evening. I'm Shauna Lawson. I'm the Assistant Director of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving at UW-Tacoma. It's my pleasure to welcome you. Thank you for joining us for our virtual alumni speaker series. We will go ahead and start with the Share the Land acknowledgement. We recognize that all of us at UW-Tacoma learn, live, and work on or near the ancestral homeland of the Coast Salish people. In particular, we are situated on the traditional territory of the Puyallup. As people on this occupied territory, we have a responsibility to acknowledge the land, the ancestors who have cared for this land since time immemorial, and all our indigenous connections today. We also have the responsibility to acknowledge the histories of dispossession and forced removal that have allowed for the growth and survival of this institution. And in light of this history, let us take active efforts to partner with our indigenous community members and neighbors as we continue our work together as a community of learners, leaders, and educators. We ask that you remain muted during the interview portion. After the interview, if there's time, we will take questions in the chat, or you may be able to come off of mute. If you're experiencing technical difficulties, please put it in the chat and we'll assist you. I will now turn this over to our interviewer, Hunter Traylor, our School of Engineering and Technology student. Thank you, Hunter.
No, thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening. Our alumni speaker is Mr. James Stevens. James started his professional career as an information technology professional with the U.S. Army Special Forces. During his 12 years serving in the Army, James traveled around the world designing, implementing, and managing large-scale networks in both friendly and hostile environments. James is most proud of his 82 airborne jumps, earning him the title of Senior Jump Master. James earned his electrical engineering degree from UW-Tacoma in 2020. During his time here, he led diverse teams that built a Mars rover, an autonomous surface vehicle, invented a hands-free e-reader, and published his first scientific paper for harvesting energy from trees. James made the Dean's List and was presented with the 2020 Undergraduate Leadership Award. Since graduating, James has obtained his patent agent license and now owns and operates Stevens Patent Law, offering patent legal services. Well, James, why don't you tell us a little bit about the work that you do? What do you do in your current role as a patent agent?
Sure. Well, thanks for the introduction. So I use my engineering degree and my other technical expertise to advise and represent inventors before the USPTO. It basically comprises drafting and prosecuting patents on inventors' behalf.
And what made you decide to start your own business in this field?
Well, I think one of the major driving factors was I wanted autonomy over my own life. My wife and I were planning on having a family, and it was important for me to have the freedom to spend as much time with my son as I could. So having my own law firm and then managing clients and managing my own workflow kind of provided me that opportunity.
And so you got an electrical engineering degree. Why did you choose patent law as the industry that you went into?
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't even know that I could, practice law without going to law school. Well, patent law, that is. We had somebody come into the university to speak to us about patents, and I spoke with him after the class, just kind of socializing, and he offered to let me try it out. And I tried it, and it was a lot of fun. So that's quite. It wasn't really something that I had planned at all. It just kind of fell into my lap. So
that's pretty cool. Why did you choose to attend the University of Washington Tacoma?
Well, UW-Tacoma has a great ratio of students to teachers, and I felt that I would really benefit from that kind of support. And not only that, I actually had a lot of friends who graduated from UW-Tacoma, so it felt kind of natural to just go there.
Nice. What was your most significant learning experience that you had as a student here?
Uh, it feels like it needs a deep philosophical answer, but as an older student, I already developed a lot of my life skills beforehand. But I guess one learning experience that I kind of had over my life that I used at UW-Tacoma that was important was changing the narrative about myself. So if you believe something about yourself and it stands in the way of your goals, then you need to try to change that. So what happened for me was math was my kryptonite. It was part of my identity that I hated it and that I wasn't good at it. And as you know, Hunter, getting the same degree that I got, it is a math degree, and I didn't
Yes.
know that. I worked really hard at changing the narrative. I stopped telling people that I was bad at math. I stopped saying that I was bad at math, and I worked on it, and so that's it's a learning experience that I've kind of carried through with me, and I had to use that to get through that degree, and so yeah.
Well, that's great. You mentioned your previous skills that you learned, being an older student and everything. How did you translate like your military experience and skills into something that would help you not only at school, but in your later careers?
Um, well, I think the best skill that I brought with me was kind of a no quit attitude, right? Like, I'm not a yes man. I'm not just going to say yes to anything and everything, but I'm not going to say no either, right? Like, if there are challenges in front of me, I don't think about how hard the challenge. I don't psych myself up about the challenge. I have laser focus about getting over that obstacle and making it to my goal. So, facing adversity in your life, I think a lot of people try to remove adversity from their life. They try to make their life easy, but I actually go out and purposefully challenge myself. In fact, the whole reason I even decided to get an EE degree was because I was bad at math and I had that kind of math phobia. And so I thought, well, one, I was interested in it. I did primarily do it because I wanted to learn about it. But secondly, it was to challenge myself. So for me, the life skills that I brought was forcing myself to do things that are uncomfortable and forcing myself to face the challenges. One, to always grow as a person, and to I don't know, I guess, be happy with myself. I want to work on, I think part of life is just growing and changing. I don't want to stagnate. So that's facing adversity and being resilient is probably the life skills that I brought that are most important.
So getting back to your time in college, what was or who were some of the professors or mentors or just even people in your life that added to your experience here at the school?
So many people, but funny enough, primarily the person who helped me most is sitting in the room right here, Miss Beth Jeffries. She was always there to pick me up when I was down, and she constantly motivated me and told me I could do it. And she really was, the person pushing me there at the university. Of course, my wife supported me, and I, all the professors made themselves available, and I really did use a lot of their office hours, and I had a core group of friends, but I also tried to be at least acquaintances with everybody in the class, just so that way, if I needed help or they needed help. So there's really a lot of people, to be honest, but I couldn't have done it on my own. Between Beth and the professors and my friends and family. I even used the mental health services quite a few times, when I was feeling down about myself, not doing well on a test, I can go talk about it. And so, a lot of people helped me, and they all added to my experience, and it was a good time.
Very nice. If you could go back in time and redo it all again, is there something you do differently, like a class you would have rather have taken, paid more attention in, or maybe engage with student groups or activities more?
No, I don't think so, actually. I tend to do what I want to do, and I'm always trying to do my best. And so I think by doing what you want and trying your best and at least doing what's right without being too self-righteous, leads to a life where you don't really have a lot of regrets, I don't have any regrets. I tried my best, and whatever came of it is what it is, and I appreciate it for that.
So going back to your job, what has surprised you most about this area of work? I know you started your own company, but even like just the general industry even.
It's a complicated field. I don't even feel like I know half of it. Might not be encouraging to my potential clients, but but it's a complicated subject, and so it was surprising how deep it is. I even, I have my license, and getting the license is simply taking a test. It's just like getting a degree. Getting the degree is taking a bunch of tests, and you learn, but once you get to a job, you still need to learn that job, and it's the same way here. And so that was probably most surprising, is how complicated it is.
Very nice. What would you say to students who are nervous about working in a field that is not specific to their degree or their area of study?
Yeah, I would probably ask why they're nervous. I think you should make a goal. If you don't have a goal, you're just wandering. So I think you should have a goal, and if work towards that goal, and if something else comes up, a fork in the road, and you want to take the other path, then so be it. So I'd say don't be nervous. Come up with a plan and work towards that, and see what happens. The perfect example is exactly what happened to me. I was getting an electrical engineering degree with the full intention of going to be an electrical engineer. I had an internship where I was doing electrical engineering work, and then a fork in the road presented itself, and so I took it. So I'm not nervous. I don't think you should be nervous. I think you should just be the water, not the rock, right? Like, go with the flow. So yeah, it's kind of cliche.
What I'm sorry?
It's kind of cliche, but it's true, right?
Yeah, no, yes, it is.
Yeah.
What has been your experience working through this pandemic?
Yeah, it sucks, right? Like,
yeah. How much more can you say,
Yeah. I try my best, right? I try to think about others, be considerate, and protect my family, and make the best choices I can.
Is most of your work, you being your own boss, essentially, is most of it online for you?
Yeah, totally. It's all online. My law firm's totally virtual, and all my clients, we talk over Zoom or another video teleconferencing app. So yeah, I think the only issue for me is, of course, staying home all the time. I didn't really want to go out a lot during the pandemic. And so, but I've kind of gone a little cabin, a little crazy with
Stir
cabin
crazy.
fever. Yeah. So, I just kind of like forcing myself, making a point to go out and do things outdoors. So yeah, pandemic sucks, but hopefully everybody will make the right choice and we can all get back to, normal soon.
Hopefully. Do you think your law firm would have been virtual if there wasn't a pandemic? Do you think that was a direction you were going, or?
Yeah. So, the law firm came about really because I was contracting with another law firm and they're 100% virtual. They're my main client right now. And I have other clients, but most of my work comes from other law firms and, they're all virtual. So pandemic or not, it probably would have been that way. So, all my mentors, they're, but it's basically like a nexus of patent practitioners. We meet on Mondays over a video call. We all do work from home. Yeah. So
Very interesting. How has the getting your education impacted you and your family?
Well, it's been really good. I didn't have really much of an education. So I joined the Army with a GED. I didn't really make it past the 9th grade just because of life circumstances. And the Army actually, it's funny, I joined the Army right during a time of war, and they typically will take anybody, but they actually had met their quota for GED. So they told me I had to go get a high school diploma. So I took a test for a high school diploma. So up until the point where I started college, I really lacked a lot of stuff, and it was a little bit of an insecurity. So getting the degree has helped make me feel better about myself, filled in the gap, and I had to work really hard, right, to catch up. And so it's been good. Yeah, feels really good to finish it and get that credential.
That's really good to hear. All right, well, I guess we're on our last question. What is one piece of advice that you would give to current students?
Well, maybe I'll try to give something that's not always said. I don't think people should shy away from, like, I don't want to say confrontation, but I think people should speak up more for themselves and others. I found a lot when I was in school that a lot of people, I wouldn't say the majority of people, don't speak up for themselves or others, and they kind of get walked over. But I think everybody has a place here, and you should find your voice, and you really should speak up for what you think is right. And don't be afraid of that, especially when it comes to jobs and working. And I think we're seeing that actually. So it's pretty relevant, right? A lot of the younger people are demanding better working conditions, and I'm actually supportive of it. And I hope that humans find a better work-life balance in the future. So yeah, I'd say my advice is to speak up for yourself and others, and just do what's right, or what you think is right.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to open it up for Q&A. You can either type your questions in chat, or you can come off mute and ask your questions. We will start that. Chana Lawson asks, what type of resources did you use on campus while you were a student?
I'm a big fan of using resources. I will use every resource possible to me. I mean, that's what they're there for. So yeah, I use the mental health resources, and well, I don't know what other resources there are really. I didn't need the food pantry, but that's a good thing, that's available. I think time of people, right? Beth always had her office open to me, and my professors always accommodated me. So, you know, the resources of having that the office time for your professors is good. You know, I did try to join a lot of student groups, a bunch of different ones. I didn't stick with all of them, but you know, I definitely went in and had fun and met different people. Feels so long ago now. I'm trying to remember what other resources there were, but yeah. I mean, I guess that's it.
Thank you. I don't see any more questions, but what we can still wait until people formulate their questions. But what is it like to be connected? How does it feel, or what is it like to be connected to your alma mater, to stay connected to your alma mater?
Well, I mean, it feels good. I don't know if you guys can hear my little one in the background. He's yelling. So funny. A little distracting. It feels good. You know, it's good seeing old people, you know, old acquaintances and whatnot. And yeah, I think actually it's probably really good because I like giving back. You know, I think when you give, you receive more. So I definitely do like to give, and I'm glad that I get to. I was asked to participate in this and other things that you've had, that like Chana, you've had me do. So yeah, I like being connected to the school. It's good. I want to do more. I do plan on probably trying to get more involved after I get a little bit more established. So you'll probably see more of me in the future.
Good, thank you.
Lori Banizak asks, how do you get clients? Do they reach out to you, or do you do marketing or networking? How do you approach that? And did your past experiences give you the skills to step into that?
Okay. Well, how do I get clients? Right now, I'm pretty busy with my main client. They feed me most of my work, and it keeps me pretty busy. So I haven't had to go out and find too many. But there's always room for a plan B. So I, of course, am looking out for my own clients. And I've had people reach out. Just today, I had somebody reach out, but patent law is pretty funny because a lot of cold calls don't typically work out because people want to patent like free energy machines and other things like that. So yeah. So all my clients have come because I know them. So my time from the military has brought a few clients in. And so I haven't really had to do any marketing, but I am prepared to do so in the future if the need arises. And if that's the case, then I don't know, maybe you'll see my face on the side of the city bus.
All right, thank you. Are most of the projects that you're working on actually related to electrical engineering in that field, or is it a variety of different types of?
Yeah, it's a variety, and that's a lot of fun. I've done everything from garden tools to adult toys to electrical engineering things, a lot of machine learning, cybersecurity, telephony systems, and I'm even doing one right now about off-world power systems. So that's kind of cool.
Marty Varela asks, what tips can you offer to manage multiple life priorities successfully?
Yeah, I schedule everything really. most things. I schedule most things. And then I mean, of course, prioritize my family first, make sure I spend time with them. But I think it's about balance, right? Everything requires balance. You know, sitting here for an hour, I should go stand up for an hour. You know, the working out, drinking water. I mean, like, honestly, I feel like it's actually a really complicated question because, you know, I could say something like, oh yeah, I would just schedule them, but there's honestly so much involved, right? Because if you're not feeling good, then you maybe skip something and you have to reschedule it, and then, you know, that adds on. So I think it's a lot about taking care of yourself, your physical, mental, and spiritual health, and then you know, balancing work and life. I think one thing that I found earlier, I said that I kind of do what I want, and the one thing I discovered about that is if I allot time to work and then I sit here at this desk and just nothing is coming, then you know, I'm kind of mindful about it. I recognize it. I don't get upset, but I'll go walk away and I'll go do something. I'll take a walk around the block or do something like that, and then come back to it. So I think when you're managing these different life priorities, it's a good idea to be mindful about them and not be hard on yourself, and to you know, always, you know, when you get kicked off the horse, just get back up, right? Like, just keep trying. And so I actually failed the patent bar the first time. So, you know, but I didn't let it stop me. I got back and started studying again and figured out what I did wrong, and I passed it the second time. So grandma's calling for a grandson. I have to be later. Yeah, so I hope that answered your question. I don't really have any like specific things other than, oh, Mom, I'm gonna have to call you back, okay? Love you, bye. Okay. So, yeah, scheduling helps me. I wish I had a little bit more concrete answer. I think it's just trying to find a balance, right? Like, not spending too much time in one thing.
So I had a question for you. Us being in the same degree path, what was your favorite class that you took?
Any class with Professor Mass was fun because he's just a cool guy. Yeah, and Mike McCord too. I don't know. EMAG was fun because I am a glutton for punishment. And it was my worst class, but it was fun. Logic was fun. I actually look back on it, and I think most of it was pretty fun. Let's take a look at my books here. Yeah. None of the math classes, but you know, the EE classes were fun. What about you?
Oh, mine, it's the same thing. It's there's just so much that I enjoy about it. It's hard to pick a single subject or class, but I have enjoyed the hardware classes.
Control systems is fun.
Yeah, I'm taking that now. That one's been pretty cool so far. So you mentioned a patent bar that you had to take. Is there anything else that is required for you to become a patent, like, law practitioner?
Yeah, so there's two ways to practice patent law, which is a patent attorney requires you to go to law school, and they also have to pass the patent bar. So they would have to pass, I mean, I'm not an attorney, but I think they have, you know, they have to pass their state bar, and then they need to pass the patent bar. And it also requires, well, and then there's a patent agent, and they just have to pass the patent bar. But whether you're an attorney or an agent, it is required that you have a hard science degree or an equivalent amount of hours. There's a few different ways to get it, but the main way most people get it is by getting a hard science degree. And then, yeah, and then there's no classes really to take the patent bar. They haven't released answers for the test since 2003, so you don't really know what they're going to ask. Yeah, so it's just a big fat book you gotta search through.
I have a question.
Yes.
So what's your next goal? You talked about setting goals. I want to know what goals you have now.
Well, maybe you'll like this one. I don't know. So my goal right now is to learn how to relax. I've been go in my life for a long time. When I was in the Army and I was with the Special Forces, their op tempo was really high. And then I didn't even get a break before I went and got an EE degree. And they really are shoving those classes at you and the information at light speed. So right now, my goal is to slow down, learn to be more mindful, present in the moment. So my kid's life doesn't flash before my eyes and he's off to college. So that's my goal right now, is to take care of my family and maintain the balance of successfully managing multiple life priorities. Yeah.
Okay, one more.
Okay.
What, besides your son, which I know, and I also want to know how Cooper is.
Oh, Cooper's great.
Oh,
Cooper's
good.
my dog. He's a 100-pound lab. He's good. He's sad because it's been nasty out and I haven't exactly taken him out. I mean, we go on walks, but we've been to the park maybe once or twice a week, but so he's bummed. He likes to go every day.
Yeah, I know he does. I hope you're giving him lots of chew toys.
Oh yeah, for sure. We we have a lot of stuffed animals we give him, but he lives a privileged life and he now he's spoiled. He sulks about it. So
yeah. Okay, so besides your son, your family, and your dog, what brings you joy?
I haven't been doing much else right now. Why'd you ask me that question? I like building things. So my truck was stolen over Thanksgiving. Not necessarily a bad thing. I guess the insurance paid me as much as I paid for it, so that's a good thing. Anyway, so I got a new car, and so that's been bringing me joy because I haven't really been excited about a car or a fancy new thing in a long time. So I got a new car. I know it's kind of materialistic, and which is really not me, but I'm a tech guy, and my car's a little techie, so I'm geeking out about it a little bit, having a lot of fun with it.
Is it a Tesla?
Maybe.
You know what I've always told you. If you
What?
get a Tesla, you have to give me a ride.
You can drive it.
What?
Yeah. It's just a car.
We got to talk.
Okay, we'll talk.
Okay.
Anybody else? Beth, how about, do you have anything to add? Because you are a wealth of information and you always give really good advice. Isn't there something you can piggyback on here?
Well, actually, I thank you for asking. I really did want to say a couple of things about what I think you did particularly well. And one of the things that you did that I would encourage all students to do, this is truly what makes or breaks your success at UWT, in my opinion, and that is to use the resources, and you use every single one. And that is a big reason why you were able to overcome a lot of obstacles, because, yes, you did have a great mind and a lot of endurance training, and you had a lot to draw from, but there's also this sort of fraud factor, like, I don't really think I can do this, and who am I to do this? And that's hard for a lot of folks. So the fact that you used the Teaching and Learning Center, you used all the mentors that were available, you went to faculty office hours, you went to advising, you went to the counseling center. I mean, a lot of people don't use all their resources, especially as I find younger people are less likely to use resources and to reach out. So that's one thing that I really want to commend you for is that I think the reason that, well, obviously, even the reason that you have this job that you have is because you went to talks, and anytime there was an opportunity to learn something new outside of class, you took it. And that is exactly how you got where you are, is because you were so good at making sure that you asked a lot of questions, that you any resource you could find, you took it. And I think that's really key to success. I would say that's probably the most important. Of course, also I think you have the ability to make up your mind and decide, and that's really hard for some people, like choosing a major. That was one of the questions I was going to ask you, because I know that in the beginning we had a lot of talks about it, but what made you, was there a certain point at which you knew this is the right major for me?
Probably not 100%, but you can't get decision paralysis. You just have to toss a coin sometimes and go for it. And and the thing about it is, the prereqs were the same for a few of the degrees. So it's like, well, I know I at least want to go in this direction. So at least let me just start going there. And you're right. You and I talked a lot because I started out as a CE, I think, and then moved to EE. So yeah. So probably not 100%, but I just keep taking a step. That's how I make decisions, is like, I kind of know where I want to go. And even if I'm not sure, I keep moving forward. I've thought about it a lot, because you're right. I have talked with a lot of people who tell me that they don't know, they have trouble making decisions. And I've thought a lot about it, and I don't quite know. I'm sure that the problems span a whole range, but I think what it is I kind of know the end goal, and then I know the first few steps. I don't know everything else. I don't need to. I just need to know, like, what's the next thing I need to do, and maybe what's the thing after that. But then I know the end goal, and I will figure out the rest as I go.
And don't be afraid to be flexible, and change. Don't be so rigidly stuck to a goal that you ignore where your education is leading you. Because I think choosing a major can be really hard, because people get stuck on something, and even if they're getting feedback that maybe it's not working, or maybe I don't like it as much as I thought, it's important to be somewhat flexible and sort of learn from things that maybe didn't feel so good at the time.
Right.
Learn from mistakes, learn from, you have to make mistakes. You're not going to get anywhere. If you're so afraid of making a mistake, you never get anywhere.
Yeah. Anybody that you might look up to, probably embraces mistakes. There's when it comes to making decisions, making mistakes, when it comes to using resources, asking for help, putting yourself out there, all of those things, you got to put your kind of like ego aside, or your pride aside. I come from an environment of tough guys, right? Like, I wasn't a Green Beret, but I was in a Green Beret unit, and all of those guys were, 99% were tough guys, and they didn't show anything. But, I don't think that's necessarily, I think being tough is actually showing vulnerability. I think you're more tough when you show vulnerability, and I think you're more tough when you ask for help, because the reality is nobody makes it in this world by themselves. That's just unrealistic. And for people to not ask for help, I don't know what you might trying to prove or what you're thinking, but just ask for help. Like, nobody's going to think any less of you. In fact, to be honest, when it comes to, like, I try not to judge anybody, but if I see somebody asking for help and somebody who's not asking for help, and I was like hiring, I would definitely grab the person who asks for help, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, put yourself out there, ask for help, use your resources, network. I mean, networking is a big one too, right? Like, I don't think we directly said that, but I think Lori asked a question about networking, but networking is really key, right?
Yeah.
So, college is about information. Well, I guess some colleges are about networking. I don't know, Ivy League schools, but that cliche about it, it's not what you know, it's who you know, or at least, it's what you know, it's who you know first and what you know second. I think that is true. I don't want it to be true, but I think it is true. So definitely.
But to partner with that, who you know is a matter of, asking questions and putting yourself out there, being friendly, all those things. You don't know anybody unless you try to know them.
Right.
And for some people that can be really hard to do. Some people really are kind of afraid to do that. And I think that was one skill that you brought with you, this sort of natural ability to connect with people, that honestly is very hard to teach. It's something that you just have, but you can develop it.
Yeah.
And I would say you developed it even more. You had some good skills when you came in, but you did develop them even more. And you did a lot of that work, with counselors and other folks to get to the point where you had more confidence in yourself, and you would, your confidence and your ability to put yourself out there kind of go hand in hand.
Right.
I would say.
Right. Yeah. And I think you need a little bit of confidence to put yourself out there, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually just ran into somebody from UW yesterday, and we were catching up, and we were talking about mental health actually, and he was telling me how he doesn't feel like he should be taking up any space in conversations or just anywhere really.
Yeah.
And if anybody else identifies with that, or if that's the reason why you don't put yourself out there or be friendly, well, just know that if you don't have a place in this world, then who does, right? I mean, everybody has a place, and
Yeah.
everybody has a place.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so important, and not something people talk about enough, is that, going through a college journey is about self-discovery, and it may bring up some things that you didn't know were things that you might need some help with in your mental health life. And there's no shame in that. It's a good thing to do, because I think, you wouldn't emerge as a whole person unless you looked at all the aspects of yourself, including the knowledge, gaining the knowledge that you get from college.
You say everything so succinctly. I wish I could say things as well as you, Beth.
Oh, you do a great job. Don't you worry about it. This is such a pleasure to get to catch up with you this way. Chana, I want to thank you so much and whoever else helped organize this. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, it's amazing to see the relationship is still there, even though he's graduated, about his family and everything. So it definitely makes a difference when you have people who have been in your life that helped you along the pathway. I think that's amazing. And yeah, I love that. So thank you, Beth, for being here and for, putting in your input. So Hunter, I guess, Marty says that was fantastic. See you next time.
I think Suzanne had a question. Oh, wait. Oh, never mind. I think that's a direct message. I'll respond later.
All right. Well, does anyone else have any comments or questions? All right, then I'm going to turn it back over to Chana.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Hunter, for being here to interview. And thank you, James. We're very proud of you. And I have been excited to work with you, watching you give back to students on campus in different ways with your time. So now we are at the end, but I want to thank everybody for coming and for joining us. I wanted to share some information. We do have our Tacoma Husky Landing Career Networking Platform. There are students in there that you can network with. There's businesses, there's faculty and staff, friends of the university. So if you want to mentor a student, students are always looking to see who's in a different industry. We encourage you to join. We encourage students to join. I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat now for you, and you can go there. You can pre-populate the information from LinkedIn. And also there's some resources on there for military affiliated. We have all different types of resources on there for first gen students and things like that. So just go on there and take a look. And then our next alumni speaker series will be on February the 10th. It'll feature Michael Jordan. He is from the Interdisciplinary Arts and Sciences program. I think it's, I want to say it the right way, politics, philosophy, and economics. So it'll be very interesting, especially now that we're in the legislative session. It'd be interesting to see how he's navigated his path. So we look forward to seeing you. And with that, we'll bid you adieu. If you have last words for James or anything, feel free to do that. We still have a little time, but yeah, thank you for coming.